Here we go, Tally. It's time for 8.2. Are you ready?
Oh, am I ever? I have been waiting for this patch for so long. There's going to be so much to do, like with all the Mechagon grinding and all the Nazjatar grinding and all the Azerite grinding. I am going to do all of the grinding.
And don't forget the transmog.
Oh yeah, how could I forget that? What transmog?
The new transmog options in 8.2, where you can hide everything you're wearing apart from your pants.
Wait, hang on. I can hide every part of my transmog apart from my pants.
Yeah, everything apart from your pants.
Okay, let me just make sure I got this quite clear though. You're saying that I can hide every single part of my transmog apart from my pants?
Totally. You can't hide your pants. Obviously, that would be indecent. Tally, what are you doing?
Oh, this is amazing! I feel so free! I love being in just my pants!
Okay, Tally, there's clearly been some kind of American English translation issue here. I meant pants, as in trousers.
What?
You can hide everything except for your trousers, Tally!
Honestly, officer, I thought it was allowed under the new rules.
Tell it to the judge. Knowledge is power.
Hello, Internet. Taliesin here, and welcome to another weekly reset. Taliesin and Evitel's Wondrous Wisdomshow, and fam, it is time. It seems like Blizzard really were waiting for me to reach level 50 on my Heart of Azeroth, and I apologise for that, but after far too long a wait, patch 8.2 Rise of Azshara is here. Or at least it will be on the 25th of June. 8.2 is real. It's not a vicious rumour. It's not all a big practical joke like I was beginning to suspect it was. Rise of Azshara is a real life patch with real life stuff to do, and it will be here all over your face in the next reset. Announced by a features trailer which has a dislike ratio of 10-1 in its favour, accompanied by a video of game director Ian Hazzikostas talking about reward and class design philosophy for 29 minutes and 45 seconds. Likewise, Law's shouty survival guide not downvoted into oblivion. These are strange and joyous times. People seem to be genuinely willing to give 8.2 a real chance, and all Blizzard have to do is not totally shit it up. And you know what? There is indeed plenty to be excited about in the new patch, from the obvious, like the 2 new zones, the new Heart of Azeroth changes, new mythic mega mecha dungeon, new raid, and gazillions of collectables, and of course flying, to the not so obvious but maybe more important, like the essence acquisition requirements, Benthic vendors, and world events, including the most important change of all, and I think we can all agree with this, there is no controversy, Lorthamar's voice. Because we discovered a little while ago on the 8.2 PTR that something really shocking and terrifying had happened to the syrupy Dilf tones of the sexiest blood elf when it came to delivering his new Nazjatar storylines, as we demonstrated on stream.
The eternal sun still guides us.
Now that is a sexy voice. Let's see what it sounds like when we get some of the dialogue going along.
Seemed as if the Alliance ships were about to capture us. Then the Naga sprung their trap. What could those fiends be up to? Go on ahead to Thalisra. Cut down any Naga you encounter along the way. Make them pay for every Horde life they have taken.
Ian Glenn to Waluigi in a single button press, and as you can imagine, we were not happy about that, to the extent that I actually filed a bug report asking Blizz, seriously though, what on earth have you done to his voice though, which is a big deal because remember, I never submit bugs because I ain't no snitch. Well, just when it looked like the entire patch was ruined and I probably wouldn't bother playing at all, the latest, final PTR build has finally rectified the situation.
It seemed as if the Alliance ships were about to capture us. Then the Naga sprung their trap.
Now I'm willing to kill any Naga you tell me to, Gideon Lorthamar, thank you. But whatever the undoubted charms, and we will be doing a run through of all of them in a moment, there's no doubt that Rise of Azshara is also a patch with a lot riding on it. It sounds like a stupid over-the-top hyperbolic YouTuber thing to say, but honestly, 8.2 really does need to save Battle for Azeroth to a certain extent. Whatever you think of this expansion, and as you know, there's a lot about it that I genuinely love, not many of us would argue that as far as overall community perception goes, BFA has not been what many players were hoping for. The good news is that it is possible to turn things around. Mrs. Pandaria managed a complete 180 with patch 5.2 and is now remembered by all the cool kids as one of the all-time great expansions. It can happen. The only question is, will it? And if you are one of those players that drifted off out of Battle for Azeroth, is 8.2 going to give you what you need to jump back into the current world of Warcraft? Well, we're here to help you decide with our traditional pre-patch segment. Why shouldn't you play patch 8.2, Rise of Azshara?
Don't play 8.2 if the reason you're not playing now is the general class design. Ian came out this week to essentially apologize for the ability pruning which has resulted in what many players see as oversimplified and unsatisfying rotations, lacking depth. Apparently the team are resolved to head in the other direction in the future, class blooming? But that is a tale for 9.0 at the earliest. 8.2 has tweaks to lots of classes, most noticeably a buff to bears and a smoothing out of resource generation for Frost Death Knights. But if the fundamental design of the classes is what killed BFA for you, then Rise of Azshara is unlikely to change your mind.
Don't play 8.2 if you don't like time gating. Although actually, this one needs a little qualification, I think. Rather, don't play 8.2 if you hate time gating and if you consider Season 3 starting 2 weeks after the launch of Rise of Azshara to be time gating. Personally, I don't, but I know there is a purist stance of wanting all content to be dumped in one go at release, and if it's not, as is the case with Rise of Azshara, then you're going to want to know about that, and this is perfectly fair. So, Nazjatar and Mechagon will open up on day 1, and the new Heart of Azeroth system will become gameplay fact, but things like the Mythic Dungeon, Operation Mechagon, Azshara's Eternal Palace raid, the new PvP season, and some profession recipes won't be available until July the 9th in North America, July 10th in EU. And that's something we've all become used to in recent years, I think. It's worth mentioning that both of the new continents have plenty to be getting on with in the meantime, especially Mechagon, which Blizzard claim has little to no time gating in its secrets, puzzles and collectibles. This is not a Broken Shore 7.2 scenario happening here. But there is one way in which that 2-week delay on some of 8.2's smorgasbord will impact player progress in a new and important way. Azerite essences. Those new selectable, collectible abilities that gloriously you gain through gameplay achievements, which genuinely I think is the single best and most innovative feature of this entire patch, regardless of the essences themselves and how useful or balanced they are, and they're not. The fact that we all have to participate in a wide range of different activities to unlock is a teeny tiny bit of genius. It gives me, as a player, a proper to-do list of things that I need to achieve, and honestly, it doesn't feel like I've had one of those for ages. But of course, with some of that content not arriving until July the 9th, that means some of these essences won't be earnable till then either. So those that require rep with a certain faction, or to complete certain quest lines, or island expeditions, yeah, I know, sorry. Or yes, leveling your new Nazjatar bodyguards, which is how you get the much prized Memory of Lucid Dreams ability, all of those can be worked towards and reasonably gained at rank 1 at least on the very first day. But there are others, like the I don't know about you, but yes please, I'll have that one please, give it to me now, Conflict and Strife, which is gained through rated PvP, and obviously we have to wait until Season 3 for that. Essence of the Focusing Iris is gained through Season 3 Mythic Dungeons, Vision of Perfection from the Mechagon dungeon, and Condensed Life Force needs you to collect numerous Aqueous Reliquaries, which are gathered from the 3 last bosses in Azshara's Eternal Palace. So yeah, you are definitely not going to have that one the first time you enter that raid. And this makes sense, to be honest. I want there to be essences that I get from those things, and for the higher rankings, you're talking a significant time and effort investment, which I'm really looking forward to, because that's why I play an MMO after all. Oh, but speaking of Azerite...
Don't play 8.2 if you really can't stand the Azerite grind, because not only is there no real end to the grind in sight, it's about to get a whole lot grindier. The Heart of Azeroth is a much better gameplay system than Azerite armor, but the work it's going to take to reach level 70, which you'll have to do if you want the legendary rank of Crucible of Flame, or even just to open your first minor essence slot, is no joke. So if you cried real tears of real blood to get your neck up to 50 in time for Rise of Azshara, which I definitely did, in the hope that it would start going a bit easier on you then, psych, I guess. And it's a tricky one because all in all, I like the idea of an AP grind in theory. Reaching new levels on my artifact and legion meant that I always had something worthwhile to be working towards, and that anything I did progressed me in some small way. BFA's system hasn't been so successful though, I don't think. Basically, the gaps are just too big between getting anything good, and I think that's especially true when it comes to essences. Like, we get something, either a poxy stamina increase or a sweet unlock at levels 53, 55, 57, 62, 65, and 67. But why? Why have completely useless levels that I work my butt off for and get nothing? That doesn't feel good, Blizz. It doesn't fill me with Azerite joy, and it certainly doesn't make me want to go and do my islands every week, no matter how much you bump the Azerite rewards for completing them, which you are, and thanks for that. Oh, and speaking of islands...
Don't play 8.2 if you didn't like island expeditions, but you were hoping they would be really good now. You won't like them. There are 2 new entries into the rotation, and they're really cool. Crestfall has some sweet Warcraft 2 references, with it being where Derek Proudmoore was killed, kind of. And Snowblossom is a Pandaren village, and who doesn't love pandas? And it's full of vermin from the Valley of the Four Winds, and who doesn't love... Oh, okay, no one does, fair enough. But essentially, it is the same old thing we've been doing since the start. Now, obviously, that's going to be a-okay with people that genuinely enjoy islands, and I'm sorry because I know you don't want to hear this, but those people definitely do exist. There is something quite interesting in the patch notes, though. Apparently, those siege vehicles that you could buy from the ship doubloon vendor at the beginning of the instance in Season 1 will be recoverable and usable on the islands themselves, which could potentially be fun. But no, I'm sorry and completely unsurprised to report that if you don't like islands now, you're not going to like them in 8.2. Just as well there's not a huge Azerite grind you have to... Oh right, oh no, sorry, yeah, ignore me.
Don't play 8.2 if the very thought of having to complete Pathfinder to get flying makes you sick in your mouth and giddy with rage. And I get a feeling I'm talking more to our American cousins here, who generally tend to take the flying issue a whole lot more personally than our European brethren. Look, I'm not saying that it's a telling difference in 2 cultures that Europeans are willing to work through achievements to earn their wings, while my compatriots on the whole would rather just be able to buy it with gold, but that's definitely the case if the forums have been anything to go by for the last 4 years. There are always exceptions to the rules, of course, like me. All you need to achieve Pathfinder Part 2 is to have Part 1 already completed, and then reach Revered with the Rustbolt Resistance and whichever Nazjatar rep your faction collects, as well as exploring the 2 fairly compact continents. Blizz reckon that's going to take most normal human beings around 2 to 3 weeks to complete, at which point you'll be able to fly in Kultiras, Zandalar, and Mechagon and Nazjatar 2, atop your brand new shiny Wonderwing 2.0.
Don't play 8.2 if you hate Warmode, or at least if you do hate Warmode, just pray that the Ripple in Space essence isn't one of your specs BIS, because then you're gonna have to do some Warmode, GG. And in Nazjatar and Mechagon, but especially Mechagon, which is teeny tiny, like a gnome baby's tiny little socks, and which funnels all of the players to the exact same couple of places, it's going to be an absolute shit show. Now, if, like me, you've grown pretty fond of outrageous Warmode shit shows in BFA and consider them one of the expansion's best features, then that's a different story, obviously. The automated defense towers that you can build in Mechagon that will hilariously attack players of the opposite faction. That was my idea, just saying. And the battle for Nazjatar, which kicks off every 3 hours and will see anyone who wants to hunting down Horde scum, the other faction, and capturing towers for commendation rewards. It all just encourages a part of the game which I really like anyway, but I get that that's not everyone's bag. Oh, also, don't play 8.2 if you do like Warmode, because if all that stuff that I just mentioned sounds good to you, then make the most of it, because as soon as everyone unlocks flying after a couple of weeks, it's all going to get cancelled quicker than a new Max Landis script pitch.
Don't play 8.2 if you hate Titan Forging, I guess, because Titan Forging is still absolutely in the game. But it's also worth noting that Rise of Azshara might be taking some steps towards an alternative system with Benthic armor, the gear that can be looted or purchased from vendors using prismatic mana pearls, and then upgraded in the same way up to level 425, which is just under heroic raid gear power. So, sure, not all that interesting to the raiders among us, but for the substantial amount of players who want a guaranteed way of grinding out gear for themselves without having to rely on other players, This is a solid goal-based system for doing just that. Each piece also has a unique effect on it which will occur in Nazjatar and the Eternal Palace raid, so actually there's just the outside possibility that maybe certain pieces will be something that the raiders amongst us will be interested in after all. It's a slightly more predictable and interesting version of a system that we saw already in Legion 7.2, but it's a way for alts and more solo players to reliably build their item level in a way which is the opposite of Titan forging, and that's a step in the right direction, even if it's only a small little gnome step.
So with all that very good advice given and warnings imparted, what is good about patch 8.2? Okay, so the thing is, this is a really big patch, and so much of it is based on progression systems and evolving, repeatable content that it's a much tougher job to predict the quality of this patch than it often is. But there's a couple of things that really make me hopeful when it comes to Rise of Azshara. It certainly appears to be a patch based around customization and goal-based gameplay. When the doors open to Nazjatar and Mechagon and the Chamber of the Heart this week, I, as a player, will be presented with more desirable goals to get started towards than I can remember in any other World of Warcraft patch. Like, I've already drawn up a list of which essences I want to go for first and what I need to do to get them, and that's already going to involve me organising with guildies to take part in a wide range of different gameplay if I want all of those in place in time for the raid. I need to level my bodyguards up through Nazjatar for one essence, and if I can combine that with killing other players in Warmode for another essence, then all the better. But I have to do battlegrounds and islands and be chipping away at those reputations for others, as well as for flying, of course. And then there's all the Mechagon stuff, which isn't quite so important for gearing, although I really need to work out which punch cards I want most for my pocket-sized computation device trinket, but is definitely full of a whole ton of stuff that I want, which I imagine will form the less urgent long-term goals for the lifetime of the patch. Collecting spare parts, killing rares, earning mounts like the Crab or the Snapdragon, or building mounts like the Spiderbot or Pascal and getting it spray painted in different colours, or working towards that outrageous meta achievement that will give me the Skaven Doom Wheel. Having those kind of goals in 8.2 is a really refreshing feeling, and dare I say it, giving me some pleasingly classic vibes, and that is the reason that I'm allowing myself to be just a little bit hyped for this one.
For me, the draw of 8.2 can be summed up as secrets, exploration, and story. Really like the idea of being able to log on with no specific thing I want to do, and be able to just wander around and aimlessly grind for a bit. How many times in Battle for Azeroth, especially in the last few weeks, have you wanted to play WoW, logged in, run around for a bit, and then realized you had nothing to do that moment and logged out? I'm hoping Mechagon can solve that problem, and after testing it for a couple of hours at Blizzard, I've specifically not been reading up on it because I don't want to spoil my own exploring. The devs claim there are more secrets and puzzles and random discoveries to be had around Mechagon than anywhere else in-game. New quests and objectives don't appear on the minimap, but require you to get out there and see what happens, and even if nothing does happen, there's always a real reason to be grinding spare parts and world quests. And you know I love secrets. This is total speculation and totally unconfirmed, but a lot of people have been talking excitedly in the darkest corners of the internet recently about the fabled bee mount. There are quiet mutterings that suspect it might be a secret that has something to do with the bee pet, and involve a treasure hunting questline which will require you to find someone that speaks bee, and I've already said too much. Any more might put you and your entire family in danger. And then, of course, away from all the gameplay, there's the story. I know this is a divisive subject, but I am so into the story of Battle for Azeroth. And we are getting to the stage now, heading into Nazjatar and the Eternal Palace, where we really are diving into the unknown. And if Ian Hazzikostas is to be believed, then it'll soon be obvious who the final boss of this entire expansion is, and therefore what 8.3 might have in store. When the raid hits in 2 weeks, expect cinematics and revelations and tentacles. A whole ton of tentacles. and I wouldn't have it any other way.
And if you're still not in the mood, then why not try the new Mechagon comic that Blizzard just put out on worldofwarcraft.com, featuring a gnomish explorer called Curvo, who discovers the Lost Island and encounters King Mechagon himself just before the action of 8.2. Now, Curvo is the name of the gnome NPC that could be found trying to gain access to the big vault in Tiragard Sound that we will at last use to gain access to the new area this week. Although, if this is the same little chap as in the comic, then he obviously forgot to pack a razor on the gyrocopter ride that he decided to take instead. These BFA comics don't animate or have cool music like their Legion versions, but the art in this one is especially good, and it's guaranteed to help you get your mecha vibe on. But I didn't forget, Internet, I did promise you some classic news today, and classic news you shall get, because the classic beta is not just still running, but still growing bigger and better every day. Ian mentioned in his deep dive half hour, yes, I definitely watched all of it, okay, that there are over 10,000 people now with access to WoW Classic, not including the many more that join the much larger stress tests. But honestly, I'm thinking Ian must have made a mistake there, surely, because I can't even think of 10,000 WoW streamers. And anecdotally, I'm hearing of more and more people getting in every single day. It's really quite the party in there at the moment, as it would be because everyone is nice and cozy like in just 2 active beta servers. And let's be honest here, really just the one server, you know? North Americans mixing with Europeans and Australians and anyone else who happens to be there. It's the glorious tapestry of humankind. But of course, it's not a replication of how things will be once Classic goes live, when all of those internationals will be separated out much more thoroughly to go forth and recreate the famous old server community spirit and identity of yore. And one thing that has traditionally meant for EU servers is language-specific options. Now obviously English is the language that many Europeans have in common to some degree, because English people are officially the unilingual school dunces of Europe, and it's up to everyone else to be cleverer than them so that we can all understand each other. But in the past, in fact, right now, WoW has always specified servers catered specifically to other EU language groups to provide a proper home to the huge German, French, Spanish and Russian-speaking communities to hang out, as well as a nice little corner for the 17 Italians that play this game. It's really lovely. These servers are alive and buzzing with their thriving communities, and I guess the assumption has always been that a similar service would be provided for Classic because, well, why wouldn't it? Well, it won't. No, there will be no language-specific EU servers in WoW Classic. Oh, except for Russians, but honestly, I think everyone's okay with that, especially on the forums, where the EU came together in its praise for a decision that broke down the barriers of race and nationality like it was a 1970s Coca-Cola commercial, to allow us, the people, to live together in the kind of utopian perfect harmony that just a short generation ago we never could have dreamed would... No, it was a shit show, obviously. WoW Classic, the beginning of World War III. Rip Blizzard, sell all your shares, we are doomed. The fucking hypocrisy of Blizzard is astounding. Interacting with French people, absolutely disgusting. 99999! Keiner EU server, ich will den WoW Brexit! Yeah, sorry Germans, but we are stuck together, as usual. Blizzard say this is to give players the freedom to go to any server they want without restrictions, but everyone is free to go to any server they want right now. All this does away with is clarity for the consumer, and the problems are obvious, I'd have thought. All that's going to happen is that certain servers will become unofficial, de facto German or French or Spanish servers, which would be great for everyone, except players that don't speak those languages but accidentally joined them anyway because they weren't officially marked as being for those languages. And I don't even know where the 17 Italians are going to end up. I dread to think. I'm worried about them. I hope they'll be okay. But screw all that anyway, because when it comes to Classic, there's only one thing a hashtag no changes kind of guy like me cares about, and that is it like vanilla? Well, I did a bit of research, and surprisingly to me actually, the EU did not have specific language servers at launch for vanilla. They all came a bit later, so I guess, shitty though this is, it is at least kind of true to vanilla, except the Russians getting their own servers. But like I say, everyone seems surprisingly okay with that, you know? Evitel, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Me too. Are we excited about the same? Oh, okay, good. I'm just checking.
Are you excited about 8.2?
Yeah.
Well, me too. I mean, I am excited about Classic as well, and I have been playing a lot of Classic, don't get me wrong. Right. But then, do you know what? Okay, in the last week or so, I didn't get bored of Classic, Okay, it's a really fun game, and I'm really looking forward to it coming out in August. I'm going to no-life it. It's going to be brilliant. I didn't get bored of it, but I got to a stage where, because it's beta, and because like all the progress that I put into it doesn't count, and it's all going to get wiped and stuff like that, despite how glorious the community is, and it's fantastic, but because of that, as soon as it gets even slightly hard, or like becomes less than incredibly fun to play, I'm like, why would I do this? It's all going to get wiped. I'd rather go back to BFA and do some progress. If I'm just below having fun anyway, then I might as well be doing that, but getting some genuine progress which is going to stay.
It's funny you mention that, because I felt that literally 2 hours in.
What, into Classic?
Yeah.
Hang on, we were playing together when you were 2 hours in.
I know.
Are you kidding me?
Even with that, I was a bit like...
We were man and wife questing together. Oh my god, this started off as like a genuine kind of like talking about how Classic maybe, and you've broken my heart. Consider me hyped, I'm down with it.
Yep.
But this week and last week I've been taken over by BFA.
Oh yeah.
I've been taken over by 8.2 because I've been just playing BFA.
Yeah.
Just normally like a real game that exists.
No.
It's been brilliant. I've had a really good time. Yeah.
No.
And I'm so
allowed.
ready, mate. I've got my neck up to 50. I'm ready. Did you get your neck up to 50?
Yes. I'm not even close.
Do you know how I know when you're lying?
How do you know when I'm lying?
Is when you say, I've got my neck up to 50. You will have to do it in 8.2 because I want those essences. I'm so excited. Do you know what I'm really excited about?
What are you excited about?
Oh man, I'm so excited for when 8.2 opens on Wednesday for us, and all of our guild is online.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
Well, they won't just be online, but they all have like a load of stuff they need to do.
Yeah.
So like, you have to do like Iron Expeditions and Battlegrounds and World PvP, and you have to do all the reputations, and you have to do these things and get them sort of building up so that you get these essences and stuff. And by the way, if you want to get the essence, which is the one you get from Warmode,
right?
You really need to get it in the first 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, because if you don't get it in the first 2 weeks, flying is going to kick in, and I'd like to see you try and get it then. That's my number one tip to you.
That's a hot tip.
Yeah. Then when season 3 kicks in like 2 weeks after that, which is awesome. Don't forget 7.2. The raid opened 12 weeks after 7.2 hit. God. And there was considerably less to do in those 12 weeks than we've got in the 2 weeks before the raid opens in 8.2. It was... Well, it wasn't great, was it? But Legion had been so good up until that point that no one minded. But 8.2 has got miles more going on than that. And then Season 3 starts after 2 weeks. And then there are 4 whole other essences that we can get or start getting at that point as well, when all that stuff opens up. And I'm just really excited. I've got a huge to-do list. I've got things I want to do. I've got goals I need to achieve. And when I achieve those goals, and when I get that rep and stuff, it's not like, oh, good, now you can buy a horse, or now you can buy like a recipe. It's like, now you get this thing that you can plug into your Heart of Azeroth, and it gives you another effect. Yeah. You know, it's really cool.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, do you know what? I'm just excited. You can tell I'm excited.
Things that make me feel really good are things that surprise me in a good way. So... like
when you're sleeping and you wake up.
Exactly. So if I'm ever like running around on the map and I see, it used to be with like rares, like star rares. I used to get really excited.
I'm still thinking about my previous joke.
I know you are. I'm trying not to acknowledge it at all. But like when rares used to be a bit more like rares, right? A little while back, like that was really exciting for me when I'm out looking for like rare pets and I have like the alert on that goes like when you see a rare tameable pet. That's really exciting. So I'm really looking forward to just being in Mechagon, and then every now and then something will just surprise me. Like a new quest will pop up that I've never seen before, some little like boss will pop up that is totally random. I love that kind of stuff. Totally gets me.
And that was happening even when we were testing it with like literally 10 other people in Blizzard. Was we were running around Mechagon, and you would come across the events that other people had triggered that were going on, and you just kind of join in and stuff. And I'm looking forward to that. There's like these assault things that happen on Nazjatar. I'm really excited about the battle for Nazjatar. I'm really keen to see how that works out. because like with the whole catching the flag things, it happened every 3 hours. I feel like that could go either way. You're going to have times when it's really fun and times when it just completely falls flat. But there are these other things, like these little events where apparently Azshara unleashes her forces on you. Like, I say invasions, but I guess it's more like they're just coming out of their houses. And they're like, get off my lawn! And they come after you. And then I guess you have to go to that part of the map, and there's more Naga there than usual. And I'm assuming you have to fill up a bar, because once the bar has been filled by any people in the area, by killing Naga, it summons like a world boss, which will need all the people there to defeat and stuff. And that just happens every now and then as well. And like that just sounds really good. Stuff like that. Well, maybe it'll be shit. Who knows? Like, because we don't know, do we? This is the thing. Until it all happens, we just don't know. But I'm hyped for it. You can call me a shill this week if you want, because I'm excited for it, and I don't mind telling you. I don't mind admitting it. Yeah. Come back next week. Maybe I'll feel different. But thank you for joining us today. If you like this episode, don't thank us. Thank our patrons who give their actual real life money to make all of our videos happen. I've got a feeling there'll be some more next week, because I've got a feeling it's gonna be a little cinematic to talk about. And then I've got a little feeling 2 weeks after that, there's gonna be a really, really big tentacly cinematic to talk about at the end of the raid. I've just got this little feeling it's gonna be big, and it's gonna have big red eyes, and it's gonna, yellow eyes, I guess. Why are they red or yellow? They're kind of both, aren't they?
Kind of fiery.
Yeah, fiery eyes, and it's gonna be big old tentacles, and it's gonna be all like, If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. And remember, my name is Queen Azshara.
Oh.
No, I don't know.
You have to do it once.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, my name is Taliesin. From me
and me, Evitel.
Until next time, cheerio.